young Sheldon brain rot. I feel like that's a form of art within itself.
Yeah,
Sheldon
I
brain
agree.
Rot.
So stupid.
Fucking young Sheldon, man. Hate that kid.
Okay, it's all recording now.
Should we like sync it?
I don't know.
I wanted it.
You can sync it.
Okay. You good?
Welcome back to the Loreboard podcast.
The Loreboard podcast.
I'm Jonah.
I'm Sawyer.
I'm Paige.
Yeah, Paige is back.
I'm back for a second.
Today we're gonna be talking about art and just the different forms of it, I guess. Sadly, Matt is not joining us.
They popped him.
Yeah, and also we lied last week because this is not a D&D episode. So
There's my aunt.
sorry about that, guys.
Oh, is that her? Sorry.
So I think what we were gonna kind of start it with was one of our favorite movies, Ratatouille. Ratatouille is I genuinely like. I know I talked about how my comfort song is Hey Jude, but my comfort movie would be Ratatouille. It's just
it's so real.
It's always one that I just like fall back on. You know what I mean?
You know, like for the first, I watched it like seriously front to back for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and it is like I agree with you. It is one of the best movies I think I've ever seen. I'm really happy that I don't know, but anyway. We're kind of getting off topic here, but so we're talking about art today, like I said, but we're starting with Ratatouille because there's this one scene, and he's like not personifies it like visualizes the flavor that like he's eating, and it's just like pops of color and just like it starts like soft, I guess, but then he like eats, I think it's like strawberry and cheese, he eats them together, and then like the whole screen like explodes with visual, and it's just such a pretty thing to look at. I think it's like a very beautiful display of how like color can tell a story, and specifically color theory, because color 100%. Theory kind of like laces into it in a way where the colors, they're very, very different, but they interlace to make one, you know? 100%. And I don't know, like, you ever hear the condition that's like you can like hear color?
Oh yeah, where you associate colors and smells with like different.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but that's just what it reminds me of, you know. Mm-hmm. How cool would it? I don't know. I feel like how cool it would be to live like that, I guess. Yeah.
Well, kind of on that.
Color theory.
I know you were talking about color theory. One of my personal favorite like parts of art, I guess, would be the color theory aspect of it, which like Sawyer calls me crazy and a freak, and he makes me feel alien, like I'm an alien.
He abuses
you,
like, basically.
He does verbally abuse me.
He also hits you.
He does. Yeah, he physically abuses.
No.
Yeah, he does.
Actually, he's just a very abusive person. No,
he's
I'm
just
joking.
like very mean.
No, this isn't funny. I'm joking. But me and Paige really like color theory, and I guess I didn't realize the extent of it until I think it was while I was working on my ziggurat on the server, and I was letting my copper oxidize, because you know you got to do that in Minecraft,
right?
Because I wanted the teal. I wanted the teal, nice oxidized copper. So I looked down as I was collecting it, and I saw that the one was on stone, and the other was on grass, and because of it, the one that was on the grass had more of like a blue tone compared to the one that was on the stone, which had more of a green tone.
I remember we talked about that. I was on call with you.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's just so cool, because it's just how our eyes perceive it. They're the same color, but because it was on the green background compared to the gray, it just looked like they were different colors. So.
Right, and that's why color is such a huge part of psychology. Like, there was a whole unit we dedicated to, like, the parts of the brain and everything. But we dedicated a whole section to, like, the eyes. And there are so many rods and cones, and it has so much to do with how we perceive things. Because it's all different. Like, it's another part of the human body. It's just, like, how we all have different fingernails, or how we all have different, like, I don't know, hair colors. It's all made so differently, so we can perceive colors as so differently from each other.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't know. I was never the type, like, if you guys didn't know, I've done art for a long time. Like, a lot of time in my life was just dedicated to art. And I would have brought my old art, but I didn't have time. But
I hated color theory. I never understood it. I was like, oh, I hate it. I hate coloring. I hate having to do this. And, you know, eventually, like, this year I really kind of rediscovered my love for color. And, like, it's kind of like thanks to you, Jonah, because you sent me those, like, videos of the Minecraft, color theory.
Yeah.
Did you watch those, Sawyer?
I watched a bit of it.
No, he's a hater.
Is this the Sawyer abuse episode?
Yeah, so I was very bored. I had COVID, and I was out, and I was sitting there watching, just scrolling YouTube, and a Minecraft color theory just, like, showed up in my recommended, and I was like, okay. And it was, like, 40 minutes long, and I watched the entire thing, and it, like, I don't know, it was just so, like, interesting. I didn't even realize that I had watched a 40-minute video. But I don't know.
The color theory is so very ingrained into Minecraft too. It's in everything.
Yeah.
Color, I guess. Like you never really realize it. It's like how you never realize that like your tongue's in your mouth until you feel it, I guess.
Don't say that. Ew.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just like there.
It's just there, you know.
Yeah. Or how you can always see your nose.
Yeah,
you're just your brain just like blocks it out.
Exactly. And people like theorize that like the older you get, the more dull color looks because, you know, your eyes are kind of like they're an organ, and, like, everything in it, like, it gets duller as you use your eyes.
Yeah.
Which I think is super interesting. And how cool it would be to just see the world from a fresh pair of eyes. To see color again for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think that's really cool. I'm gonna send you some art later.
Okay.
Can you like, put some on screen, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like, I don't know. I think color's so incredibly important when you do art because it can completely change how you view what you make. It can change how other people view. It can story tell for you. Like if you've ever seen a black and white movie, there certain colors they had to change. They had to go down to the pure value of a color. Like, you know, red lipstick.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Makeup for black and white movies was crazy.
It was so different, and that it's all down to color theory. Like, almost everything you see. I don't know, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I know, like, kind of talking about that, I know for WandaVision, the show, the first couple episodes were in black and white, and because of it, you know, Vision's, like, maroon, like dark red, burgundy, maroon, I don't know, one of those, but because of it, when they made it black and white, it just looked black, so they had to, like, color swap it and make him, I think they made him, like, light blue or something, and then it, like, was fine, but...
Yeah, it's, like, because red is such a deep color.
Yeah. So I find it cool that, I don't know, but...
And, like, a challenge that most artists, well, I guess, like, it's a challenge, and it's also, like, an art tip that artists have, like, online, is, like, go by value first when you're selecting your colors, because then you can tell what really looks good together. If you guys are artists at home, I'd recommend trying that, because, like, I tried it, and it has done, like, wonders for my art. Because, like, if you have colors that look too closely, like, related in value, then they'll just look bad.
Yeah.
It's weird.
100%.
I get what you mean, yeah.
So I mentioned the online art community. Segueing into that, it is so interesting to go online and just, like, look. Just especially if you're in the art community. I don't know. Because, like, I'll go on, like, Instagram or something, and I'll go to my, like, Discover page, and it's all, like, art. And it's so different on there.
In what way do you mean it's different, Paige?
You know, when all you do as an artist is you sit in your room all day for, like, 11, 12 hours, listening to music and, like, the silence of your own thoughts, there's so much you discover about yourself. You know? So it makes very unique people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unique, right?
I think that, yeah.
Yeah, you get it? Like,
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Back in 2020, I was really involved in the art community, right? And, like, the amount of, like, differing perspectives and people that you see on there. Like, I will meet people in the art community who are on the completely different sides of the political spectrum, but they're just so united by this one thing. Like, you'll have, like, a furry, and you'll have, like, a very far right, like, I don't know, like conservative on the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know anything about like the online art community.
Not even a little.
I mean, like a little bit, but I think it's all like stereotypes.
Yeah.
What do you mean stereotypes?
Well, like the, I have to believe. I don't know if we have to believe like Rule 34 type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or that's like the extreme.
Yeah, the extreme side of it. The extreme side of it is crazy.
Oh.
Oh well.
Don't look it up.
I'm not gonna. You're scaring me.
34 is that like if it exists, there's.
Hey guys.
Of it.
Okay.
So like. Yeah.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting
picking
down
up what
here.
I'm laying down. Okay.
Like the one thing that I kept trying to put on the banner.
Wait. What?
Do you know what I mean?
Of Lemmy or Lenny?
Yeah.
Lenny.
I know what you're talking about.
What?
I'll show you.
But yeah, I have no comment there. Actually, one of my favorite games to do, like games to play, is, like look up like a Pokemon or something, and then turn off safe search and see how long it is until you find some
art of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and a hot topic in the art community right now is AI. And I don't know if you guys know anything really about it.
Yeah.
Is there? What do you guys know about AI?
I mean, I just know that people either love it or hate it, which is kind of funny because I am kind of in the middle on it. Like, I definitely understand why they're like, why they want to, further develop it, but at the same time, it's also like putting artists out of jobs and stuff because it's you can literally just tell it whatever and it'll make you like what you ask for. Like I'll be honest, I've for homecoming, we had Candyland as our homecoming theme. And for the front of our hallway, I used AI to like make a castle because the only like candy castle that was on like in the games was so small that we couldn't like use it as a frame of reference. So I like I gave it the prompt of like, oh, make us like a candy castle, or I don't know exactly what it said. It was more like in depth than that, but it gave us it, and then I was like, that's not bad. But then like I did like change it a lot actually. I added like a gumball machine tower and like, but the basis of it was just straight up an AI picture of like a castle. So I understand why like it could be helpful for something like that, because I asked it in like I got it in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Not even.
Like, well, and you were using it for a reference.
That's true. But, and I think that would be also another thing. Like, it could be good to use as a reference, but at the same time, like I said, it's putting people out of jobs. So.
Yeah, I see it especially now with like, you know those like shitty mobile games. And I look at those ads a lot, and it's straight up just AI now. Yeah, like all of it. The art
like
that they
majority
use.
of like YouTube ads that are just like the text to speech, and it's just like some like health cure type thing. I don't know.
It's all AI, and it's putting a lot of artists out of their work because people are realizing, oh, I can just do this, and it's for free.
100%.
But the thing with AI art and AI everything is that it steals.
Yeah.
And it takes without permission, and that's why the art community is so kind of divided on it. They've taken a very strong stance against AI art, but there's people who claim to be artists who will just use AI.
Yeah.
And have you guys seen Drew Gooden's video?
I don't believe so.
You guys should go and watch it tonight. It's a very, very good, like, he says a lot of very important things. The point of art is to create things. Yeah. It's to go through the process of trial and error in real time. Like, when I started art, it was before I could even speak. I didn't do all of that so that somebody could be like, I'll never be able to do this. I could never make art, and then go and steal from other artists and do it in 10 seconds. You can make art. Anybody can make art.
100%.
It's like in Ratatouille. Anybody can cook.
Anybody can cook. That 100%.
Anybody can cook.
And what I love about art too is that it's so like versatile. Like, you don't have to be good at drawing to be good at art.
No,
like,
art is so many things.
I can hold my own when I'm drawing. Like, I'm not good at like coloring things, which is really ironic because I love color theory so much, but I'm not good at shading. I'm not good at like making 3D things, but I can like draw in 2D, and I can like again, I designed the castle for the front of our hallway, and I thought it looked pretty good.
Right.
But then there's something like Minecraft, which is a whole nother like plane. It's a whole other plane of artwork, and which at least I would say,
it's a whole nother playing field. It's pure sculpture.
100%. And I know that there's people out there that is like, oh, anyone can build in Minecraft, but yes, like that's 100%.
Anybody can make art.
Exactly. And I know there's people that try to say that it's like just not like hard to do, or it's not like a type of art, but I don't know. After putting hours into that base, I definitely respect people that like do Minecraft as a living now. You know what
Grian?
I mean? Yeah.
His bases are crazy.
Don't get me started on don't get me talking about Grian.
And like you guys did like your propaganda for like your Loreboard.
Yeah.
And that's art within itself.
Which is really like funny because it was like super like I don't even know how to explain it. It was just like brain rot. It's genuinely
really like
just
spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Type, like
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Stuff that only we would really find funny that we would like think of, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot of inside jokes. So let me preface it a little. We're gonna have an episode more focused on it, but we started this propaganda back in November? October, November?
It was like October.
Right after the cast
it was right around when would that have it would have been October. It was October.
It was cuz I remember after a marching band game.
It was October, and also I know because it was before we even made the Loreboard. But we made propaganda for this thing called F-Tag, which
it started with the quote book.
The quote book.
It did start with the quote book, but we can get into all of this more in depth.
That's like chef lore.
He'll
be here next week.
We'll have our
we'll show him some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. I think he'd love that.
Yeah.
But so it started with the quote book, and that started like September into October. But then we moved on from that and started making propaganda for F-Tag, which again we'll explain what F-Tag is and like all about that.
I said the abbreviation, but there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, no, we can get more into that when we're gonna have an episode probably in the next couple of weeks, on that. But, from there it then turned into the Loreboard propaganda so we stopped making F-Tag propaganda for a while because it was like getting problematic kind of.
Yeah, and it kind of and not to say that it got old, but it like kind of. It got a bit stale, and it was like, oh, we shouldn't be like as mad about this, I think.
So we stopped doing it for a while, but then the three of us, not Paige, sorry,
not me, but
me
Matt.
and Sawyer and Matt, the three of us, were sitting in baking one day. I think it was in baking, or maybe it was no. You know what? It was in seminar, or at the end of the day.
Yes.
We were sitting in the band room, and we were like, we miss making propaganda.
So we using our skills that we had like kind of developed, I guess.
Our skills.
Well, it's a whole different art form, you know.
Yeah, we ended up just making
Loreboard related propaganda. So we would just pick random stuff from the Loreboard and just like, it's actually kind of just I would say
it's a lot of that.
The channel banner is actually like
the culmination.
The culmination of just Loreboard propaganda.
Yeah.
So do you have it pulled up?
I have it opened. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like whole digital image like composition. Like, oh wow, what does she have to do with it?
These are the first two ones. This is before me. This is just
Yeah, I don't know if we should like.
Yeah, we can just like pick things.
Well, I think we should just show some of our. No, you don't, Paige. Are you in that one?
I think where am I in that one?
I don't think
you're in that. That's an old photo.
You
might be right there.
Because Amelia's in there. I'm just cut out.
I think it's cut out.
Well, I should probably preface it. This is gonna be our Loreboard segment today. We figured that showing
right.
our yeah. So
okay, we can show Know Your Worth and Carry On My Way.
Yeah. I think these ones, the four
Know Your Worth.
The four of those I think would be good to like show, and then we can also like see if there's any more. But like I said, they're just random like culminations of
they're all like cut.
Oh, why is it like that?
I think it's because they got like shoved to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, we'll have them on screen. There's just, we made a lot and we were very passionate about it. You know what? No, that's what brought it back. It was the server. I made the server art. And then the next day we were like, oh my gosh, we should start making propaganda again. Yeah. So on our Minecraft server, on our Minecraft server, we have a Discord for our Minecraft server and just actually other games that we play. I think we touched on that.
We touched on that on the gaming.
Yeah. But I made like a profile picture for it, I guess. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much why propaganda. We started making the propaganda again, but but there. Yeah, so it's just something that whenever we were bored at school, we would just make it and.
Can't show that.
Go off. What? That's crazy. Is that like part of the actual picture?
This?
Yeah.
No.
Where's the picture from?
I don't know.
Anyway,
no, that was a picture from. It was something that had to do with that. Either you or Matt sent me that had to do with Little Mermaid. It was like when he was like looking down. Dance? He was like up at the top and he was looking down. But anyway, pretty much we just wanted to touch on the propaganda because in a way, like it's definitely not on the level of like art that like Paige does or like that other people do, but I would say that it is definitely still a form of artwork.
It's definitely a form of artwork, especially if you look at like how you guys put the.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Are you guys gonna put that one on screen?
We'll put that one on there.
Okay.
But so there's audio only listeners, just like crash your car and like
it's a whole bunch of like so picture a image, and it has all these people on it, and it has all of these Skylanders characters and Slosh or what would stock if you would call it.
Yeah.
And it's just everywhere, and there's text everywhere. But it's like put together in an artistic way where you're gonna find it funny.
And they were made really well.
Artistic.
Earlier ones were made really quickly, but then like something like that.
Yeah.
And
actually, you guys have seen some propaganda. I know last episode we had the Shiny Hag Train.
Shiny Hag Train.
Who sadly will not be coming on the podcast anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
But
okay.
But yeah, so we just wanted to bring light of this, I guess, because it's something that
I forgot what 4-step plan meant.
You guys explained the 4-step plan to me like once.
Either.
Was it like?
I think it was how I wasn't gonna fail math. Or
yeah,
something relating to
I think it was that actually. You were talking about like stats or something.
Because I almost failed statistics. I had a 37%. Sorry, up until like 2 weeks before our last day of school. So. Okay, well, we'll end the segment right now, and
I'm just scrolling through stuff.
We can put that one. We're gonna put some of our favorites on screen.
It'll be like a slideshow.
Yeah.
It's really funny, you guys. Like the visual listeners, you're gonna enjoy it.
But yeah, so that's the end of this segment
We're
of
getting kind of to the end now.
Yeah,
Loreboard,
so let's go back to the
Loreboard, but. Kind of circling back to Minecraft for a minute. I know you mentioned green for a minute. Someone that I've always really appreciated, just like their building style and like the way that they literally just pick like the randomest blocks, I don't think that's a word, but the most random blocks and like the weirdest assortment. But then it looks so cool, and I just have like so much respect for them. BOO.
Oh, yeah, I kind of knew where you were going with that. I do like his. I know what you mean.
And I found I have actually like a newfound appreciation. I watched him a lot, like in like the kind of in the past, but then I stopped watching him for a while. But then when the new season came out of Hermitcraft, just kind of preface that, I started watching him again, and just like he built like this giant beautiful forest, and like the ambiance of it is just like beautiful. And then like he has like these silos, and like it's such like a cool looking area, and I don't know. I have so much respect for someone who just it's another plane of art, like we said, and I don't know. I wish I was as good.
It's an underrated form of art because
100%.
even like because it's I think like in my definition of sculpture, it is a part of that.
100%.
Like, there are so many different ways to create art, and like another big form of art is music, and it's so ingrained in our culture. Like music, like people will fall asleep to it. People listen to it on the radio. Our voices are like themselves are music.
Yeah, 100%.
You know. And it just needs to be fine-tuned to where it will work in a musical setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so beautiful about art is like, okay, I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but you'll always be bad at something. Like, but here's the good news. The reason why you're bad isn't because you're bad at the thing. It's because you're comparing yourself to somebody who is better.
100%.
You're not bad at it. You're just not as fine-tuned to it as somebody else is, which is okay.
And I think that's a big reason that a lot of people end up like quitting at stuff after they like just recently started at it, because they look at what other people are doing and realize, wow, I'm terrible at this. When
you have to judge what you do against what you've done. Exactly.
You shouldn't compare yourself. Just like I don't know. I feel like I just keep going back to my Minecraft build, but
it was a very big thing for you for
exactly.
a long time.
And the temple, like it's definitely my best build. But if I took it and compared it to someone like bdubs, who has just like these gigantic, like extravagant, like beautiful builds, like it's not a comparison, and it would make me lose interest so fast. You know what I mean?
But if you compare it to the first house you built in Minecraft,
exactly,
that's improvement. When I didn't get on the tennis team my first year, I took it as a challenge to be better.
100%.
To better myself. And like, did it take a lot? Did Audrey have to push me a whole lot and tell me to lock in? Yeah. But was I better the year after? I was. And that's where people miss it when they make things like AI art. They miss the whole 4-step process of making art. Part of what's so beautiful about it is that somebody made that.
Yeah.
Somebody took time out of their day, out of their life, to dedicate to that one piece of art. You know, Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
She was like, wasn't it like, you think you fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all that came before you. Your art exists in the context of all of the practice you did before then.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like even like when I finally like finished my base. Well, okay, finished is a very loose term because I didn't do any sort of interior at all.
It's empty on the inside.
It's a shell. It's totally just a shell. But I'm still happy with it. I'm still proud of what I built. But that's mostly because, well, I would have liked to do an interior, and I was planning on making it like this whole like museum, and it was going to be super cool. We all kind of stopped like having interest in like playing on that server just because we had all played on it for so long. We were starting to get burnt out.
Right.
But also, when I compared it to every other build that I've done in the past, it was just miles better. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason that I wasn't disappointed in myself when I didn't like finish. I think my problem was I went into it with too many like plans for it. So when I finished it and I didn't finish it, when I finished the outside and I didn't do any sort of interior, I wasn't that disappointed. Just because when I looked at all the other stuff that I've done in the past, and even like the other stuff that I did on that server, I was so like happy with how it turned out.
And that's the goal, right? Sorry, I have a question. So I know this is severely off topic, but I guess like talking about this kind of reminded me. You do like lights for the theater.
Oh yeah.
What was your first time doing that like?
Well, I mean, kind of seeing where I like all of this year, I've kind of had to like not do everything, but like I've had to like learn how to do everything, and then also like kind of like design shows and stuff, and like doing that for the first time. And at the beginning of the year, it was like a shit show, to put it lightly. But then I was really kind of happy with myself for like I would say Little Mermaid and the community theater that I did with the Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Because I was able to get past all of the like nitty gritty type stuff where it's like programming stuff, and then like I'm also learning stuff.
I remember you were setting up lights, and you would have us like stand in the back just to make sure they were working properly.
Yeah, but like I was able to get it down so it was like only, I suppose, like creative stuff, and it was really nice, I suppose. And I would say I was more happy with actually how Beauty and the Beast worked, I would say. Because there was actually like color theory with that. Because
I bet you hated that.
No. It's okay.
Yeah, because he hates everything.
Yeah, because you're a terrible person.
To put context behind this, Jonah, when he first learned about color theory, came up to me and asked, "Do you color theory?"
I did say that.
And I was like, "Jonah, what do you mean by that?" And you're like, "Do you theory?" And I was like, "Jonah, I don't know what you mean by that." And then that was the extent of the.
And thinking back, the moment in Minecraft wasn't even the first time. Like, I don't even remember.
I mean, it's all like it's all around you. I mean.
Well, yeah, but I don't know.
But with what was I talking about?
The lights and the color theory.
Yeah. Oh, the color theory and so the back row scoops that like light up the scrim.
I don't know what any of
The
these words
scoops and the scrim, bro.
The lights on the way back that are just kind of like the colored ones.
Oh yeah. Okay. That
So,
like that on like the back like white curtain thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But so actually, yeah, it does involve the curtains. So the garbage truck, I think, driving by. There was the colors that I had were like orange and blue, I think.
Mm-hmm. Those are complementary.
Yeah, they are. And well, the blue is for like nighttime, and the orange is kind of like for like castle lighting to kind of like flames.
Yeah, because it's
kind of.
like, yeah.
But in the end, so the way that the show went was for a majority of it, it was the white background, but then for the last like couple scenes, it was black, and the orange ended up looking like really red. And I'm assuming, well, I guess just like got darker with the black, but it looked like really good because it was supposed to be like it's like the Beast like transformation scene where there's like a bunch of fog and there's like a bunch of fog. And I was able to use the LED that we have, so that was nice.
Wow, the one singular LED.
Yeah.
What, with LED?
Well, so all of the lights are, I think it's halogen bulbs or something. It's like really old, and like the like.
Yeah, it's kind of that season for halogens.
Yeah, I know, but like they're so old that like I'm pretty sure after like, don't quote me on this, but like maybe 10 years, like they're not allowed to make them anymore because of like how like not efficient they are with energy. Like the government has like outlawed them.
Oh, okay.
But there's only one LED like lamp. I don't know, but it's fun to work with. I don't know, and I guess like color theory will be a bigger part of my job once.
Yeah, because you're like you want to go into that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it'll be easier to work with if like, because like I'm going to Wayne State and the theater only has LEDs, and you can just like switch. You can just like give a light an RGB code, or I'm not sure what system it is.
I think you got it right.
But like you can just like give it a value, and it does that.
No, yeah.
And it'll be really like tangible, I guess.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
I think that's really cool. How like I guess I know we talked a little about that before. I guess it's really cool how that works. How it'll look different on different backgrounds, and it's cool to play around with light in particular because that light has very different like primary colors.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like magenta,
cyan,
and pink. I think. Or it's like, hold on, magenta, cyan, and yellow.
Yellow, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. And it's so different. It's very different from the cones in our eyes. And I think that's another reason why our cameras, they can't pick up the colors that we do. I'll see people and they'll take their sunset pictures and it'll be like, you know, they can never capture the beauty of how we see it with our eyes. And it's because these
why,
work differently than these do.
Yeah, and that's just why I don't understand why every single person just like is always taking pictures of the sunset, because is it pretty? Yeah. So look at it. Like,
right.
Taking a picture of it just doesn't do it justice.
I take pictures of the sunset when I can capture it.
Yeah.
When I can capture the beauty how I see
100%. It. I think there's been like 2 occasions in my entire life that I would take pictures of the sunset.
I think
and it's like it's like sorry.
Is there a woman screaming?
Yeah, there was someone screaming.
But yeah, I think it was like this one time. It was because I don't remember, but it was like almost like the sky was almost purple. Like it was like a really dark pink, and it was like almost purple. And I thought that was just like the coolest thing ever. My favorite color is purple. But and then there was just another time that we were in like Myrtle Beach, or maybe I don't remember, but it was really pretty. So,
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, the only sunset picture is like, if people ask me, oh, show me a sunset picture. I have a whole ton that don't capture the beauty of how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't show those ones. I show the one that I took in a Target parking lot before I went to Buffalo Wild Wings for fight night.
It's always like the most ethereal shit.
It's always
when
the
you're
most
in some
ethereal
random
shit.
ass place.
Yeah.
I can send that to you later, but like it was truly like a beautiful picture, especially in like parking lots. You know.
Yeah, it's really hard to capture stuff with camera. Like one of the most beautiful places that I've been was like when I went to Texas with my family, and like we were in like I have family from Texas, and we were in like the area that they're from, and it's Texas Hill Country, and where they lived, it was off of the Nueces River, which was the old border between Texas and Mexico when Texas was like a country or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it was like the water was like so blue and everything was so like red and orange.
We went
but also
to,
like kind of like sage green.
Yeah.
But like I couldn't take pictures of it.
It's just it doesn't capture it
Or
the
it
same
doesn't-
way.
Yeah, no, I have 2 places that we've been that are kind of polar opposite. Like they're both super pretty, but they're like polar opposites of each other. When I was probably like almost a decade ago at this point, me and then like my entire dad's side of the family went on a family cruise because like my Nana's uncle died, I think, and like he had a farm. So then when they sold the farm, they got like a bunch of money. So they like, not a bunch of money, but they got some money. So they
like they got cruise money.
Yeah. So they gave all the kids some, and then they gave all the grandkids some, and like for like college and stuff, or in savings. I don't know. But then we all went on a cruise together. We went to Bermuda. It was the prettiest, clearest water I've ever seen. Like genuinely, I was very young. I mean, I wasn't. I was probably like 7 or 8. So like I still remember it, but not like super vividly. But I just all I remember was that like I was really worried that there was just gonna be a shark, and that we were gonna see it because it's shark infested waters. They have like a whole bunch of stuff down there, but it was just the prettiest water ever. And then the opposite of that was last year when my brother graduated. We went to Alaska. We did an Alaskan cruise.
What is an Alaskan cruise like?
So it left from Seattle, or like, yeah, I think it was Seattle,
Like
and
Washington?
then it was Washington, but it just went up the coast.
Oh, okay.
And it just went up to Alaska. We stopped in Juneau, which I believe is the capital, Ketchikan, and Skagway.
Okay.
Those are very interesting names.
I think Skagway was my favorite. It was like this. It was a little town, completely surrounded by mountains, with just like this one channel, which is how the cruise ships like get in there and like how boats get in. And it was genuinely like just like the cutest little town. And then also there was like this train that takes you to like the Yukon Trail, and like it goes like up the mountain and then it goes like back down, and it was just like the prettiest. Like people always say don't go to Alaska when you're young because you'll never be like, you'll always be disappointed like wherever else you go, because like nothing lives up to Alaska. And honestly, I think that's gonna be true. Like genuinely, it was the prettiest place I've ever been. So definitely, if you ever have the opportunity, I would say go to Alaska.
And it's all color.
Yeah.
All color.
Yeah. And it was just it was so good, so fun.
So
we didn't see the Northern Lights, which is sad.
The Northern Lights came around here, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah, but
I mean, so I was thinking about mentioning this, but like with art, we were talking about like how art isn't like everything, kind of. Like I was in like for spring break, I went to Chicago, and like all of the like architecture.
Oh my
like,
goodness!
so,
Not even gonna be started on architecture. It's so
like,
beautiful.
I don't know, and but there's also like an amount of like, not even like the architecture, but like there's something with like, because like Chicago is like it's like overbuilt kind of, because like it's like all raised and there's like a lower part of the city that you can like drive around, and all the like bridges and stuff. And you can tell that like someone like thought like hours and hours about like everything that like you're just like walking in.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know, I think that's like
why don't we make architecture like that anymore?
I don't know.
Like you see these like new houses and they're all freaking squares.
Yeah.
It's
Where did it all
boring.
go?
Yeah.
Like give me like that house right there. That cottage country style home that's built with like care. You know?
And then there's also like the ones like up by like on the water. I think what am I thinking of? I think it was we were like on our way like towards the border of Canada. Right. But it's like on the water and these houses, they literally just look like mini castles. Like they have like spires and like towers and
like
stuff.
where did that go?
Pictures.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of. And it's just the architecture. They're just. I hate modernization. I hate modernization.
I hate when things become sleek, like company logos. Don't even get me started. What did they do to the freaking Patreon logo? You guys know the Patreon logo?
It's just like a little blob.
It's a blob now. It used to be so full. It used to be like a nice
Gio.
P and everything. It used to be really nice.
Which actually we might be doing that.
We might be starting a Patreon soon, so.
Yeah. You might get access to a version of the Loreboard.
Yeah, the version of the Loreboard without the redactions.
Yeah, and like the podcast without the redactions.
Like $200 a month though, so.
Yeah, like $1,000 a month, guys.
No, I'm joking, but yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. Well, so we're in Metro Detroit, but if you go to like downtown Detroit, there's so many buildings built by this one guy. I'm like, there was a moment where I was like gonna go into architecture, but it's like
I can see that.
You're really into art history, so I don't really don't blame you.
Yeah, but like there's so much that's like, I don't think I would have as much fun with like the engineering aspect of it, but I know about like a lot about like local history. So this one guy, Albert Kahn, designed like every like Art Deco skyscraper and like building in Detroit. He designed it.
That's really crazy.
And it's
one guy.
and it's like just Detroit and like different Midwestern like city type stuff. And he also just like built houses. He like designed like early car factories and stuff. And it's like so like oh my God, I'm gonna put the photo up. So like you know the Fisher Building, right? It's when you're on 94 and you're going over the thing, it's to your right. And it's like it has like the big copper top.
I'm just gonna look up a picture. I'm pretty sure I do know what it is, but
so that was the original plan, and I like so
Fisher
wish,
Theater.
Yeah, it's the base of that. But like, it's so cool looking, and I wish that like they had done it like what exists now was like the left wing, or I don't know, like so it was supposed to be flanked by two buildings that were like that, and there's supposed to be a massive middle piece, but they ran out of money.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang.
I guess that's why they don't really do it now. Because if they did it now, it would be crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that's so much better than these, like, millionaires' houses that are just literally squares.
Yeah.
Like give me a castle.
Exactly. If you have money, why are you going to spend it making the most, like, modernized like blob of white paint.
It's more
like,
expensive to I think rent out a millionaire house that's like a square than it is to rent out a castle for a day. I think that's crazy.
And I mean, like, I think the extent that I like square buildings is like, you know, like the cool like 60s and 70s building that are like they're square.
Yeah.
I like those, but like past that, why is everything square? I don't
Like I think the new thing with like architecture and with like modernization of things is to just make it as minimalist as possible. Minimalism,
also,
when done right, is beautiful.
Yeah,
I agree.
But when it's done to so far of an extent where nothing is there,
I think it's at a point now where it's like cheaper to do like a box, and then it's like, oh, it's minimalist, but it's also
ugly.
Yeah,
it's ugly. Like I'm, it's to the people who love minimalism, I'm sorry, but the new houses are just ugly.
Yeah,
they don't offer anything.
Have you seen the videos of like on like TikTok and like I'd imagine Reels too? Excuse me, where it's like this like really fancy old home.
Oh my god, and they just change it.
And then they like paint over everything with like gray.
Like why?
And
beige. I hate the color beige.
Beige.
It sounds ugly.
It does sound ugly. So it's like an onomatopoeia, like beige. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's these. You ever see the communities of moms on TikTok? They're beige moms. They paint everything with beige.
Yeah, and they just think it's
Kim
like
Kardashian's home.
Yeah,
like
that's a really good example of just like modernized minimalism that just looks terrible.
Like
I'm sorry,
if I had money, I'm like
I'm buying a castle. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna build from the ground up. Like I'm gonna like waste all my money on it, but I'm gonna like have people like hand like carve like stone and like, shit and like
something cool. Like
give me like gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Oh my gosh.
Give me gargoyles. I need those. Like, I don't know, like, it bothers me. It really does. When I'll look at, you ever see tapestries?
Yeah.
People don't make tapestries anymore.
No.
They really don't.
Yeah.
Like, the tapestries people do make are really cool now. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's feeling like it's a lost art. Like, we were talking about this earlier, but, like, old American paintings and, tapestries.
Yeah.
Like, and they were all created. You can see the fundamentals, the math. There is so much math that goes into making things like tapestries and paintings, especially in those old, like, I forgot what the era is. There's a reason why people see the shapes in every old painting, is that's the reference point that they use to make all of it. Mm-hmm. And that is beautiful. It's math.
100%.
And, like, people say, I'm not an artist, I'm not a creative. There's two types of people. There's the analytical and there's the creative. No, there's not. We are all creative. We all have a free thinking mind. That's creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be able to do things on your own, that's creativity. And it breaks my heart when I see people, like, replace all of that with AI or with somebody else's work that they just went over.
Yeah.
You know? And to replace it with squares, with open floor plans of nothing. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You have all of this.
I don't see it like...
You have all of this.
Exactly. And kinda going back on what you were talking about with, like, paintings, Starry Night is one of, like, call me basic. Like, I know, like, everyone knows about it, but it's just genuinely, like, one of the most, like, appealing things to look at. Like,
and
I don't know.
it's also so gut-wrenching.
Yeah. And so, actually, a couple years ago, Lego made a Starry Night. It was $170. Guess what my birthday present was from, I think I got it. It was, like, a combined gift from my mom's entire side of the family. So, like, my parents, my grandparents, and then my aunts and uncles, right? It was genuinely the most fun I've ever had building a Lego set, and half of it was literally just placing, like, 1x4, like, plates on one on top of each other, just building the background. But it's just
to see it be put together.
It was such a good, like, outcome, I guess. Like, it was worth, and it took me probably, like, 2 weeks to build, because it's not, like, I would sit down and build it for, like, an hour and a half at a time, hour to 2 hours at a time, and I bet I probably put a good, like, 10 hours into it. And it didn't even feel like that, though, because of how much fun I was having while building it. I used to really be into Legos, actually, which I'm not really anymore because of how expensive, like, it is, like, the hobby is. But I do still, like, enjoy building Legos. But, yeah, I do still have the Lego Starry Night. I wish I had somewhere to, like, hang it up. Because I don't have shelves in my room.
Maybe if you get, like, your first apartment is, like,
maybe I'll bring it to college. That would Lego Starry Night.
Like, put it up in your dorm room or something.
But I don't know. Can we
go back to Van Gogh?
Yeah.
His artwork in a story. I went to Beyond Van Gogh. I don't know if you guys went to
that's
that.
Like is that the immersive, like...
Yeah, the immersive Van Gogh
I was supposed
experience.
to, but I think I had, like, a birthday party, so my family went, but I didn't.
They had some of his artwork there, and, like, if you look closely, you can see every single brushstroke. You can see where the paint globs up from where he would stop and begin.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the most beautiful things about paintings. You can see the thought process. It's like when you look at a painting, you see where the artist was when they made it. And I think that, like, when Z makes paintings, one thing I like to do, and I like to look closely, and I like to look at where every brushstroke began and where it ended.
Yeah.
It really puts, especially Van Gogh, because that's one of the things I don't often see with paintings. People try to make it as smooth as possible. But put globs on there. Stick it on there.
Yeah.
Because, like...
give it some texture.
That's your painting. That's yours.
Yeah.
Like, I like tactile. Like, if you were to run your own hand over it, you could feel it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't know. Like, especially for people who are visually impaired... or, like, can't hear or anything, I think artwork is one of the most important things in those scenarios. Because artwork can speak volumes beyond what it is on its own.
Yeah.
Because artwork without meaning isn't artwork. It's a picture. It's a thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything can be art if you put a perspective on it. Which is, again, why AI art isn't art. It wasn't created using a vision. It stole. And stealing isn't beautiful.
Stealing is bad.
Unless you're, like, doing it with a purpose.
Yeah.
Unless you have a reason behind it.
Yeah, like when you rob a bank, like, you want the money. That's your reason.
That's your
steal.
reason. That's
like,
a thing.
That's okay to rob a bank.
It's not okay to rob a bank. But, like,
what
what I'm saying is, like, having a thing without a reason isn't a thing.
Yeah,
I guess.
no, like...
it's just, it exists, but it has no context.
Yeah.
That's why things like, I guess, that's why animation is such a big thing. That's why we talked about the Ratatouille scene. That's why it's so impactful. If you just saw those squiggles without the context of what it was, it would be nothing to you. But with the context of the animation, it's beautiful.
Who is that?
Sloan.
Oh. Get her on the podcast.
Get her on the podcast.
That's Erica. I don't know. I think that's Sloan. Continue. Sorry.
Sorry, I know I was rambling a whole time, but I guess that's, I don't know. I love art. I love art.
Now I am going to circle back for a minute. So we were talking about music, and I know that we've mentioned it quite often, and, you know, it is like our outro music, but Ethereal Workshop. I'm just going to touch on it for a minute.
6. We will not be updating the outro music.
We will not be updating the outro music, even though the Wave 6, the newest and final wave, just came out on...
I
think it was Wednesday. I think it was last Wednesday. So Ethereal Workshop, it is a new island that started coming out in October. And every couple months, a new wave would come out. The first wave had five different monsters, which I know in the past we've explained like what My Singing Monsters is. It's pretty much just, it's a mobile game. And there's all these different islands which make up their own song. And you can like breed and buy the monsters which add to that said song. So back in October, the first wave came out, and it had 5 monsters, and it already sounded like a song. Mm-hmm. But then, like a month later, the second wave came out, and they added 3 more monsters. And then the third wave with, I believe, 2 more. The fourth wave with another 2, I want to say. Mm-hmm. The fifth wave had another 2. And then for the sixth wave...
just 1.
So we were at 14 monsters, right? Before the sixth wave. When the fifth, everyone thought, like everyone that plays the game, like me and Matt, and then also Callan, he was here last week, we were all speculating that, there was going to be a quint, which means it has all 5 elements. The monsters go by elements. Like, that's how you breed for them. You breed... Anyway. There just wasn't one. It was the most disappointing thing ever. I opened up YouTube and I saw that it had come out, so I went to listen, and it was just like this... It was one monster, and it was percussive, and I play percussion. I love percussion. But not only was it percussion, it was also just, like... playing in its own vomit, and it just sounded disgusting.
What,
and it was
really?
like sloshing around. I'll show you it when we're done with this.
Gotta
But
show me that.
it looks gross, which I think that's what they were going for. Like, and that's fine. Like, it's called My Singing Monsters. It's okay if they look a little bit gross, but what I don't want to hear is just like it splashing in its own vomit and piss. Like, it's just not.
And there's like moments where it like oozes. And,
yeah. And it was just
disgusting.
it was very disappointing after like. Because some of my favorite monsters in that game are on that island, so I was really excited to see how like how it was gonna like really be finalized, but then we were all just met with disappointment. So we will not be updating the outro music. We will keep it at wave 5.
It didn't even like add all.
No, it didn't. Like, and I do like the percussion that it added because there was like it added some crash and suspended cymbals in places. There's some tambourine, and I think there might be some sleigh bells, but it's very faint, and it doesn't really overall add that much to the song.
And then there's also the, like, sloshing around.
Yeah, and then also
like,
there's the sloshing.
And excrement type thing.
Yeah, so it's just a little bit disappointing waiting 9 months, 10 months, when even was October?
Long.
I don't know, since October for the song to be finished, and now that it is, it's just, like, disappointing. But we still love the game, and I'm still gonna get it just because I'm a completist. But, yeah, I just wanted to touch on it.
It's such an interesting game. 'Cause it's like the living embodiment of music theory. I feel.
Kinda.
Yeah, like you really you think about it. You're putting the song together.
Yeah.
And you see these people, and they make their songs. People don't realize it, but by making this music, they're participating in like. I guess the global learning of music theory.
100%. And it, like, personifies, like, the monsters personify the sounds that they make.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Again, one of my favorites is the, it's like, the one that, like, taps on its head.
Oh, noggin?
Noggin.
Yeah.
I like noggin. It's because it can do, it changes a lot throughout the islands. It's the sound that it makes.
Yeah, no, it plays... I think it's usually like a bongo sound, but I know that there's some,
It's bongo, it's like,
I know that there's some islands that it just, like, plays, like, more, like, ethnic drums, and there's some, I don't know.
It's a monster that is literally, like, I don't know, music theory.
Yeah.
The context of music changes depending on where it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna stop talking about it now because we kind of just went on a whole music tangent, which the last 2 episodes were about. So,
sorry. You know, I also do music.
But yeah, I still love My Singing Monsters. I'm a little bit disappointed by Wave 6.
When did Wave 6 release?
5 days ago. So
wow.
the 17th.
I'm surprised I didn't hear anything about it on the server. Did you talk about it on there?
Well, I was just so, like, engulfed in rage.
You
I was enraged. No, I texted Matt, and I was just like, hey, it's disappointing. And he was
it
like,
the 5
damn.
stages of grief?
Yeah. I'm at acceptance.
Wow. That's crazy. 5 stages of grief in 5 days.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not at acceptance. I'm really hoping that they're going to do, like, a surprise Wave 7, and it's going to be...
I feel like a lot of times this year you've been through the 5 stages of grief in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah, actually, like, it's just been, like, an emotional roller coaster this year, but I don't know. This has definitely been, like, I've had the most fun this year than I've, like, out of my entire life, I would say. So
I've had a lot of fun this year. I mean, like, this year's been tough for a lot of different reasons, which I'm not going to get into on the podcast, but, you know, it's interesting, I guess. Emotion within itself is a form of art. I don't know if you guys knew that, but when people act, that's art. emotion.
Oh, you do. You want to talk about poetry? You do poetry.
Oh, I do poetry.
I love poetry.
I do poetry. Maybe I'll read one out, but I love
like
poetry.
I just on my desk I have like whenever I'm like feeling down I have like feel good poetry.
Aww.
And my I don't know what it's called and I pull one out and I just like read it.
I have
Miss Squirt would love that.
129 poems just on my phone that
Like that
I wrote.
That's crazy.
Eventually I want to release a book at the end of my senior year with all the collections of stuff I made in grade school. So it started all the way back like when I went to Blue Lake for the first time. When I went to Blue Lake for the first time,
which Blue Lake is like
it's a fine arts camp in Michigan. It's near Muskegon, which is like
Muskegon.
It's
by Michigan's Adventure.
Michigan
Adventure,
I think is what I don't know. I went there once and like I ripped my leg open.
It's like really not.
Yeah, it's a story for another time.
Yeah, but Paige Lore Dump, I got bullied there.
Oh.
And it was not. It was my second experience ever going to the lake, and I was just so down. And my counselor was like, "Why don't you try writing poetry?" And so ever since then, I just write. I open my phone, and it's like a streamline of my consciousness. And I don't know. It's here's a poem I wrote June 17th. It's called Hug. And I don't write poetry in kind of the traditional rhymey way, so I'm sorry if it's like, that's not poetry, that's just writing. Who cares? Hug. A hug, to me, is a pure symbol of affection. They settle arguments, are greetings and goodbyes, truly pure in nature. When I hugged you, I had a funny feeling in my stomach that it would be the last time before everything changed forever. I hugged you twice. Good night. And then the next day, I thought, why do my funny feelings always have to be right? And I don't know. I love writing poetry, and that's like, a lot of that poem has a lot of Paige lore in it, but if you know me personally, you'll know the lore. But it's such a freeing thing to do. Like, it's one of those things where anybody can pick up like a pen and they can write poetry.
Well, and it's one of those things I think where you like transfer your pain to like art.
Yeah, you do it in very so how poetry works for people who don't write or don't it's like it goes in the form of lines. And so that's why I was kind of reading it like it's because that's line separation.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of
what's it called? It's called like it starts with an S, I think.
Syntax?
No.
There's
like a word for like
stanza.
Stanza.
Yeah, the different stanzas, they go together, and a really cool thing about poetry is line spacing. Well, you'll find a lot of poetry, like line spacing is very deliberate in poems. Like it can do passages of time, it can do brief pauses that have a lot of emotional weight to it. It happens a lot in slam poetry. If you guys ever seen like how slam poetry is done, a lot of people clown on it, but it's like genuinely it's some of the most gut-wrenching I've seen. Like there was one about like a school shooting, and I think about it like almost weekly. Because it's just like it's a gentle reminder to just like watch the people around you.
Yeah.
Look at what they're struggling with. Because people can fall through the cracks of life all the time.
Well, I don't know about you. I actually really kind of like the poetry unit that we did in English.
I'm just sad that like we didn't really get to like write any. Because I don't love like reading it, but I do enjoy writing.
I didn't like as much the aspect of like all of the like vocab.
Yeah, and also
stuff.
I wish we'd have like gone more in depth on some of them, like instead of just reading 4 a day and like picking our 2 favorites. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like we just read so many in such a short amount of time. I don't remember literally any of them.
Yeah, I just think poetry is one of the, along with writing in general, is just one of the coolest forms of art. I really like I kind of explained this before. I love paintings, sculptures, and writing.
Yeah.
I do digital art. I'm sure some of my art has already appeared on the screen because I'm going to send Sawyer some of it at the end of this. But if I had to give some, I guess, not closing thoughts, but some like...
I mean, yeah, it can be closing thoughts.
Yeah, here, I have some closing thoughts. Like, if you don't do art and you think you're not a creative or you think you're just some, like, an analytical cold person, you're not. The reason why you can think is because you're creative. You make sentences based off of your own creativity. You may not realize it, but always you're actively making art. Each step you take, it changed the earth beneath you, and that is art. That is beautiful. So if you think you can't make art, you can. You can. So just try it. Do something.
100%.
Do something. Like, you don't just have to lay around all the time.
Yeah.
That's my closing thoughts.
So yeah, I will say thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah.
You're our first
reoccurring
guest. I enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your time. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
I really enjoyed talking about just talking about everything today. So
yeah, cool.
Paige did the art for the soul.
She did.
do
Which
art for the Souls.
I really hope will be out by now, but we said that 2 weeks ago, and it's still not.
It's
we're still
doing
doing.
really work in progress.
So it might be. It might not be. If it is, we can link it in
Matt
the
always
description,
plugs
but-
things. We have to plug everything.
Yeah, I don't know any of them.
I'll just say links.
TikTok.
In the,
TikTok
it'll
is
be in the
is
description. Facebook.
The.loreboard.pod. Facebook is Loreboard, 2 words.
Just get Matt on the phone right now. Call him.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and subscribe to the podcast, to our YouTube.
Patreon maybe coming soon.
Maybe.
Yeah, coming soon.
Or something, yeah.
Oh, shout out to Liam Taylor. I don't know
For
why.
what?
I don't know.
Just shout out Liam
Just
Taylor.
Liam Taylor.
Hey, can we shout
Yeah.
shout out Audrey Kane,
Yeah.
Audrey Kane.
please?
Shout out
Audrey Kane.
to Don Cheadle even.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. Can you get on the podcast if
come
you're
on the
watching this? Come on.
podcast. We'd love to have you.
Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to have Barack Obama on the podcast.
Anyway,
But
what you're saying?
thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe.
Next episode, Chef. The Chef Cooking
Yes,
SD
Chef
special.
Cooking SD special. So, in the meantime, I'm Jonah.
I'm Sawyer.
I'm Paige.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
This is the Loreboard Podcast. Thank
Loreboard
you.
Podcast. See you next time.